Check sheet is what? Check sheet is tool that you use to record the data. So it doesn't mean that you need to have like something like this, that you have the row like the table, and you just check the problem, type the problem in different hours. You can use any style of the check sheet, but the key main idea of the check sheet is used to record the data. Even though just the blank A4 paper, and you write down something that weird or something that that abnormal from your process, we also call it check sheet as well. The check sheets can be the box that you check. The check sheets can be the thing that you have like the checking box, right, of any style. Just record the data. In this slide, it's quite simple. Check sheet is that we try to record the type of the defect. We have 3 defects style, A, B, and C, and we try to record in every hour. And what can the check sheet provide information to us? Normally, it can tell us about something wrong, or the trend, or the something that we need to investigate more about the abnormal pattern. For example, in this case, if you look more carefully, you can see that the problem might be occurred at the hour around 7 and 8 and 1 and 6 hour. Because at the middle of the working time is quite little checks of the defect style. But for at the beginning and at the end of the working hour, we have a lot of defect. So that this kind of information that check sheet provides for us, because it can tell us about the abnormal pattern, something that we need to investigate more, something that is not that normal to happen, right? And check sheet also have another style, right? As I mentioned, A4 or sometimes you are not using like the defect A, B, C, but sometimes you need to categorize the problem, right? The problem, the waiting time, problem of the quality of the food, problem of the hour order, problem of the inventory, something like that, and then you check depending on the time or what kind of problem that you have. So maybe you can need to gather the information into one group, right, and categorize that group, right, to be the specific problem, and then you check the thing that's happened. Also, but I want you to know just the key main is record the data. Right. And the second one is about scatter diagram. For the scatter diagram, it's just like the diagram that you try to plotting the graph, right, between variable and another variables. So it's just like the dot graph. The scatter diagram can provide you with the trend, right, or with some recognize about some pattern that they do have the relationship together or not. For example, in this slide, with plotting the information between variables, absent and productivity, and you can see that it's quite have more relationship, but in the negative direction, right? So if you have more absenteeism, you're gonna have lower productivity. So it's just like that. Sometimes you have in your mind that you're curious that okay, we have this problem because that reason or not, or we have this problem because we have this variable or not. Then you can try by using the data between 2 variables that you're interested in and plot together to see is there any relationship between these 2 variables or not. And it can tell you that, okay, you can have the relationship in the positive direction or negative direction, or they don't have any relationship together. So it's just like you should investigate and gather the data relationship together. And the third one that is very popular, and you know that, is called cause and effect diagram. Sometimes we call it fishbone diagram. this diagram is quite useful, right, to use for investigate for the cause of the problem. Right? So let's think about the head of the fish bone. Right? It's called effect. Effects mean this kind of the problem, and then each bone or each branch line that you see on the left hand side, you need to brainstorm together with your team and try to think that, okay, what kind of cause that make this problem occur. So normally we mainly have like 4 or 5 major causes, right, regarding with the material, method, manpower, or machinery, or even though another one is like the environment. Right? So you're gonna have things like brainstorming together with the team and just generate the idea that, okay, this problem occur because blah blah blah. So you list that what would be the cause that belong to which major cause. But it's gonna help a lot for gather the information, right? But it's gonna use along with the brainstorming, right? Things. Right? And for this first 3 tool is used for gathering the idea, right? Gathering the idea. So you can say that it's come from the brainstorming as well. And the next one, you might see this before, is called the Pareto chart. The Pareto chart is used for organizing the data because it tries to help me to identify the priorities problem that we need to attack first. So just like that, you have the problem of the problem of something, right, in your organization, and you try to brainstorming, right? Let's say that it's come from the cause and effect diagram, which is going to be the cause of that problem, and then you have too many causes that gonna affect to be that make this problem happen. Right? Then it's impossible that you're gonna handle or attack all the causes at the same time, right? Or handle all of them. Right? So you need to prioritize which one is more important than others. So then the Pareto chart can help you. Normally, Pareto chart consists of axes that we have 2 axes. The first one is about the frequency. The second one is about the percentage or cumulative percentage. So just like the cause of the problem, you're gonna list, let's say that you're gonna have the information that, okay, the frequency for each of them, right? And then you plotting, right? And you're gonna say that if you have, right there, I have another example. If you have the totally cumulative percentage around 80 or more, right, and maybe it consists of these just 2 main causes, A and B, not C and D, E. So it means that things that you have to do is these 2 causes, the A and B, would be the major important thing that you need to handle first. Because once you handle this one, you solve this one, you reduce the problem around 80%, something like that. So let's say that you have, let's say, 10 causes. You just 2 A and B's just account for 80%. You handle these 2, you solving these 2 main problem, you can solve the problem 80% something. So it just helps you to prioritize as the order of the important things. But it doesn't mean that come from just one measure or 2, maybe it's 3, I don't know. But it doesn't using the number 80 actually. So it depends. Maybe 78 is okay, 75 is okay. So it depends on the information that you have. But the key message that we have from the Pareto chart is about the prioritize important, identify the important problem or the defect or the cause that we're gonna attack. And the next tool is about flowchart. Flowchart. For flowchart, I think that everyone knows well about the flowchart. Right? It's about the process diagram to show the link for each activity, show about the flow of the process. Yes, it should have like some point to be the decision point. If yes, go what way, if no, we go what way, right? And how the flowchart can help us when we try to use for the quality problem. This is because flowchart is very useful to try to describe the overall process. Even though that you're doing something that we call the process improvement, the first thing that you have to do is to develop the as-is process flowchart. Right? And then you're gonna see that, okay, based on the overall picture, so what kind of the point in that process that's gonna be the problem, such as the bottlenecks or the problem of mistaking that always happens, something like that. We analyze based on the getting the information outside and also brainstorming discussion with the team. And then once you develop the improvement, you're gonna drawing the to-be process flowchart again, right? To see, sometimes you try to, simplify the process, right, more easily, right, reducing some step or reducing some activities that make the flow more, flow look easily, right? So the flowchart is quite useful because before we analyze things, right, we need to see the overall picture, clear picture about the flow of that process, right? And you know what? People, if you write it down, it's better than you keep it in your brain, but you just memorize it, right? So, when you try to solve the problem, just write it down. When you write it at the process, when you have the diagram, it's just like you translate, right? You memorize to that process, to that system into the diagram, right? And you can add more detail later. But if you are not writing down something that you just keep in your head, just memorize, so you cannot doing anything much because a lot of things in your head, so you cannot memorize all the things in your head. Right? And one thing that I used to mention about the flowchart is that let's say that you can investigate into your workplace that the really good of your colleagues who are very excellent performance, that person usually they know about the process of your organization. So they know that, okay, if you have this problem, what you're gonna go, if you have this one, the flow, what it's gonna be. So we can see a lot that the very good working person or efficient person, they know about the process. Right? They know every process, just like, let's say, in the commercial bank. There's very few people that know process in all the function in commercial bank. If you're working in the collateral, you know just process in the collateral or the thing that you do. You have no idea about the investment banking, or you have no idea about the fixed income or something like that. But some person that be the head of the very big division, they know every process. So quite things that I try to